started, but seriously, oh, that's my timer to say we have to get started right. All right, so I'm going to start you guys off with our preface. This is kind of our introduction. Today is incredibly fast-paced. What we want to do is show you a protocol that you can get through scoring all of your students' writing in one planning period. Now, we won't finish today because we're talking through the protocol, but from here going forward, you'll be able to do it in one planning period. The other thing is, let's talk about purpose and agreement. So we're all going to agree on these first. We're going to continue moving forward, honor time. We're going to talk as a group and not have those sidebar conversations. We're going to watch out for derailment, getting off track, and we'll kind of give you warnings about that. But truly, we want today to be about laughter, hope, and candid talk. Okay? So let's pull out a rubric. It's on your table in a sheet protector, and let's get ourselves familiar with the columns and the rows. So pay attention across the top. You have it listed on the columns by grade level, but then there's also a point system. You guys see the point system? Mm-hmm. And then down the side are the different components of writing. Okay?
And there's kind of three chunks. You got the structure chunk. You see structure across the top, and then you have development, and then on the back, you have language and conventions. So it's kind of the way it's going to go in three chunks. And when you're going across, your eyes are probably going to go to the grade level, like many of you probably just went and looked at first grade. You really want to kind of start to tune into the points too, though, okay?
I didn't start my time.
That's okay.
All right, so let's go ahead and dive in. We're going to pass out to you some writing samples. Do you have the writing samples?
They're right here.
Okay, we're going to pass out to you some writing samples. Let me show you how to navigate these. So you're just going to pull it out of your sheet protector, and down at the bottom it says sample 1, page 1. So you've got two samples, so make sure you flip all the way through to sample 2 and know where it starts. And then flip back to sample 1.
So you have two different writing samples here, and you know which one you're on based on the little note at the bottom. Good, she put a little sticky note between them.
One thing that we want to tell you while you're finding those is today we're not the normal Tennille and Angie. Okay? Today sucks. It does. I'm not going to lie to you.
Embrace the suck.
Embrace the suck. That's right. Embrace the suck because it sucks, but it's because we want to honor your time and because we feel like it's really valuable. We want to get through it, okay? So because of that, it's going to be very, very fast, and you're going to hear us say, you're derailing us, like get back on track. And we love you, and we feel like you love us, and we've been with you a year, so we feel like we're ready for
this. This is what we're doing with our kids.
Yeah.
So we're doing the same thing. Yeah. So pull out that very first one, and we're going to walk through the rubric together. So before we start, I want you to skim through sample 1. You're not really reading deep, you're just kind of skimming it. So skim through all the pages of sample 1. Look at the pictures, too.
Sorry. Hey, did you get a chance to kind of check out the paper? Now what we're going to do is talk through the rubric. So let's go to the overall, the very first not column, but the row across the top. So
if we disagree, we're going to really talk about it. We want to have a dialogue because the point of this part is that we're calibrating. We're all getting on the same page. Okay? So let's look. Overall, where do you think this writing falls on the rubric?
Did you say the grade level?
And that's a choice y'all want to talk through. Do you want to call it by grade level or you want to do the points? You want to give it point values right now or you want to call it by grade level?
Just make a decision.
Yeah, so
grade 2.
Okay, grade 2. Straight on or between second and third?
I don't think it's straight on.
Okay, tell us why.
Well, because if I compare it to the Night of the Veggie Monster, it is only talking about the pea. This does not only talk about the wasp. Okay. It talks about picking the apples, what it tasted like, and then the wasp came. It's a little bit more to me. I mean, I think it's a great story.
Okay.
Wait. I'm thinking of a small moment, though.
Okay.
Is this supposed to be a small moment?
It is. This is a narrative rubric. So we're thinking about a narrative piece. So when you look at the grade, okay, so y'all, if I go down to kinder, the writer told, drew, and wrote a whole story. Did he do that?
Yes.
Yes. So then the first grade is the writer wrote about when she did something. And those sound a lot alike, right? Like to me, I'm like, what's the difference between first and second? I mean, kinder and first.
Okay, one time.
Okay.
So one time when she went to the orchard or whatever.
Okay.
So I guess this, okay.
So you're gonna go with that? Everybody's good? So in that case, how many points would that writer get?
4.
4 points, right? Because you're saying he did it like a second grader.
So it'd be for each section going down, like 4 points for overall, 4 points for lead.
For each section, depending on where it falls.
Right, okay.
So mark it with your dry erase marker. You should have a dry erase marker. Mark the overall. Where did we land? Did we land on grade 2?
4. So
Okay.
that's 4 points.
Okay.
So then go down to lead. Where does the lead land?
I think that's like a first grade.
The writer tried to make a beginning for his story.
But I don't think it's quite to second grade level where they thought about how to write a good beginning and chose a way to start, because they just said, I went to that.
Okay.
So I,
Or the writer had a page that showed what happened first. You guys agree that it's in that? Okay.
So
Mark it
straight
with
on
your-
first grade, so that's 3 points, right? Is that what it says? Okay, just making sure.
It would go here, I guess.
And you can put it over there in the
Okay.
column, so it's easier to add up as you're going down. Does that make
Okay.
sense?
Next is transitions. Who wants to tell me about transitions? Where do you think it lands?
Kindergarten.
Okay.
They're in order. I don't see transition words.
Okay.
there's some ellipses, which is,
The
I
little
don't know
dot,
if
dot,
they
dots.
teach that in kindergarten.
They
They're
did,
trying to-
they did put the pages in order. Would you all agree with that?
Yeah.
Did they use words such as and then and so? And. We got an and.
So.
Oh, there is
so
an
happy.
and.
Then
There
I said.
is. Yeah.
Okay,
Or it
so what do
says
you think? It
band.
was full on?
It was so sweet.
Or would you give
Grade
them
1,
a
or would you go
mid-level?
with a mid-level?
Mid-level.
Okay, let's go with mid-level.
So that'd be
Everybody
3
agree?
So.
3.5.
That's the third.
3?
We said first grade?
We said mid-level.
Oh,
Maybe
so
3.5.
3.5.
Yeah.
If it's mid-level.
Okay, let's keep going. What about the ending?
Yeah.
There's
That's
distinct conclusion.
That's a way to end, I mean, first grade said the writer found a way to end his story.
Yes, he
I don't
did.
know that it goes to grade 2 though,
Yeah.
for a good ending.
Okay.
Okay, so
you
let's
guys
just say
all
first
agree?
grade.
Yes.
Okay,
Which
mark
is
it.
what, how many points?
Three.
3 points, sorry.
Okay.
And what about organization?
I mean, I think it was ordered.
Three,
Talking
four.
about going there.
Second grade
Three or
or?
more pages.
Okay, she says yes, 4 points. Y'all good with that?
Not enough lines on the page. Yeah.
Okay, now elaboration and craft, before you score on this one, this section of the rubric, you double what you give it. So if I'm reading across on elaboration and I think this writer put the picture from his mind on the page, he had details in his pictures and his words. If I think he's on grade level, like I think he's a first grader, how many points does he get?
6.
6, yeah. So just this category only, development, you double the points. So what do y'all think on elaboration?
I mean, he labeled, but there's not like hair on the head of the person.
So you did do
Top.
labeling.
Yeah,
There's
but,
top.
There's top.
There
there's
might be a
eyeball.
bee.
And I hear a loss, I mean,
Yeah, he's got some, the 5 senses kind of thing going on. So what are you thinking?
The writer put the picture from his mind onto the page, he had details in his pictures and words, or the writer tried to bring her characters to life with details, talk, and actions.
Maybe mid-level? What do y'all
Yeah.
think?
I think so.
Okay, let's do it. In that case,
So
it'd be
you're
7
doubling
points,
points.
right?
3.5 times 2, good
First
math.
grade.
Okay, what about craft? We're behind schedule a little bit, so I'm gonna pick up the pace. I don't really get stop.
I think grade 2.
Okay,
I do too.
grade 2. How many points is that?
8.
Double it.
Okay,
Look
quickly
over.
turn to the next side of your rubric.
We're gonna do spelling and punctuation really quickly. Word all words, he's good, right?
Yeah.
Okay, but then you're just thinking about spelling patterns. Did he use spelling patterns? Was he strong with those? second grade strong or first grade strong?
Where's I kind of think second grade.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
Y'all with that?
almost everything
Okay,
else.
so give them the
Okay,
points.
and then the last
That's how they
one
only get 4, just because on
Okay.
one
That
section
one
is
gets
only
only
section we go.
is punctuation. What do you think?
Oh, yeah, I mean, there's commas,
Uh-huh.
there's quotations, there's exclamation marks.
Second grade, first grade, midpoint?
Second.
Okay, mark it. All right, now what we're gonna do is we're gonna move into step 2, and we want you to turn in the sample to sample 2. Now that we've talked through the rubric, we're all kind of on the same page with how we score. Score individually. So everybody's got the same writing, score it individually. Don't talk about it, we'll talk at the end and make sure we're calibrated, all
And
right?
just so you know, the goal is to try to get a paper scored in about 2 minutes, but we're gonna give you 3 right now. So you read it, score it in about 3.5 minutes, go.
Okay.
Your time's about halfway finished, so if you're not about halfway finished, you need to pick up your pace a little bit. Don't forget to double. Collaboration is best.
And we know we're being like super quick, but we're just training them.
All right, you have just a couple more seconds to finish up.
Bless you. Zoom tight. Okay, most of you kind of wrapping up that one? Think so?
Okay, what we want to show you next is we're just going to make sure we're calibrated. This is like a double check. So you're going to go through and just quickly tell us your score. If they're different, we'll talk about it. If they're not, we'll go on fast, okay? You don't have to total it up. We're going to show you that the computer's going to do that for you. So start with the first one and just call it out. Overall?
3.
I put a 3.5. 2.
Okay, so we need to talk about
discrepancies. This is what you
overall.
want. You want to have discrepancies and you want to talk them out. So tell me why you scored it a 2. Did you say 2?
I said 2. Oh, I meant to say 3. Sorry,
That's okay. Okay.
3.
So 3 points, you felt like
I
was
did
on
not
first.
mean to do
Okay,
that,
okay,
yes.
okay. So that's
Sorry.
a little closer.
So we have a 3 and 3.5, is that it? And a
Oh,
4.
wait, no. I said 4. I wrote 2 for grade level.
I know
4
it
is
is.
what I meant.
I do think that those points in grade
Sorry.
levels get confusing
It does
because you're
get
like 2 like second grade, but really
So-
it's 4 like
Yes.
second grade.
Do
It's
you,
confusing.
do
Okay,
we
sorry.
have a 3?
Yeah.
We have a 3, and then we have 2 3s,
I
got
have
2
2
4s, and 1 3.5. Let's talk about overall. Justify your answer.
I just didn't think that it was like, I don't know, elaborate enough to give it the 4 points. So I just said 3.5 because it was almost there, but I thought it could have been just a little bit more maybe.
And when you're doing overall, it truly is, you're thinking about the paper as at large, right? Like you're not breaking it down into a specific area.
Well, cause I think about every time, like she said, the night of the Veggie Monster, and it is like literally one little bit of her trip to McDonald's, it's not the whole thing.
Yeah.
That's why I thought.
Is
it's
the night
small.
of the Veggie Monster one of the lessons?
Yes.
Lucy's- Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Oh, it's the book that we read.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And it's literally
I thought
about
y'all
eating,
didn't know what I was
and eating one pea,
I
and
was
that's what I felt
assuming,
like.
but I thought I'd clarify that.
So do you think we could go with a 3.5 and everybody could live in that zone?
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay, let's go on. Lead.
what'd you give it? 3?
3.5.
I gave it a 2.
3.
Okay, tell me why you gave it a 2, Miss Danae.
Well, I can see how she was, or he was trying to add more
Sorry, that was my fault.
detail, saying I was 2 years old, I was at McDonald's. But I don't know if that's elaborate enough or a good enough hook to start with.
So you just feel like he had to start, because that's basically what kindergarten says,
Probably a
the
little
writer
too
put his.
clinical, but-
No, I mean, and that's okay. What makes y'all say, no, I think it's more than just that?
I think that's pretty descriptive for first grade.
Okay.
Could we live with a 3 instead of a, and that's kind of in between the 2?
I don't know, I just look at that word tried, the word
Okay.
tried, because I feel like that's more than trying.
Okay. You
Yeah.
feel like what he did was more than trying for first grade? Okay.
I can see that.
So
Let's
can you
go with
concede in that one?
transitions then.
Okay, transitions, what did
I'm
you
not
get?
even talking.
Mhm. Yeah, that's the point, this is
The
the hard
whole
one, we
point,
talk it through.
3.
3.
3.
1 more.
I put 2, cause I didn't see then and so, but once, on one page.
What do y'all think? I see an and.
3. Yeah, I saw one every page.
Then
Oh,
a.
maybe I missed it.
The other
Well,
thing you wanna be
and,
careful
but
of.
not like,
Right, that's what I was about to say.
Between.
Just because the word and is in the paper doesn't mean it was used as a transition. Just because the word then is in a paper doesn't
I
mean it was
think
used as a transition.
it was more like listing what happened,
Okay.
like and this and that, and so I don't know, should there be, should we not worry if like, because it says and then so, if they don't use,
All 3 of those, or?
yeah, or if they don't use then more than once, which should we still give that, grade 1?
I think it would go back to the idea of the transition, is one idea leading into another, leading into another. Because they could blow your mind and use transitions well beyond those. You know what I mean? So you don't wanna be like, well, they didn't use and then, so mark them down.
So we have 40 seconds left so what I'm seeing a trend, Danae, that you're maybe rating just a little harder
Yeah,
than the
and I
group.
expected
Okay,
myself to
that's
do
okay.
that.
And this is why we calibrate, so we can all get on the same page. So maybe, let's just keep that in mind as we're moving forward, and that way we're on the same page, okay? So I'm not calling you out, I'm saying
Oh,
that's the point of
fine,
this, is to
fine.
calibrate and get us all in the same place.
And I will also say, you wanna kinda score hard.
Especially at the beginning.
Okay.
Because at the
Intentionally.
end, whenever it is reflective of your instruction, you wanna have a lot to celebrate, okay?
And when the state of Texas does adjacent scoring with the papers that the kids get at the state level, and part of that is, and they're hard, like they aren't gentle.
Okay, I'm gonna give you one more minute,
Okay.
sorry.
Go
I'm
ahead,
rushing
please, go
you.
ahead.
Let's
Please
go
do.
ahead and get through the rest. Organization,
4.
3.
I put
okay, so
First.
3, 4, close enough. Elaboration,
4.
8.
Yeah, 8,
Or
you doubled it,
8, yeah,
okay.
sorry. 8.
you gotta double wherever you landed, so if you landed on a 3,
Oh.
No, hold on.
No, I did put 4 on that one.
So you gave him 8 points, or you did double
It's okay.
2?
I wouldn't, I knew
She
that.
was
I
paying
doubled the
attention.
2.
Okay. Okay, so we have a little bit of scrap, and elaboration, I'm gonna tell you, this little column, elaboration and craft, probably is the most place discrepancy happens, because there's a lot of objectivity in this. or subject to them, I should say, right? Like,
See, I'm bad at this. I take more time than that, cause I'm sitting here seeing that she sat back in her chair, she was getting tired, there's more description there than just glancing at it.
So would you say you would have upped your score a little
Yes,
bit?
yeah.
Okay.
and
What
then
about craft?
7.
7? You
Okay.
give me 3.5.
Turn it over.
Spelling and punctuation.
I have a question with that though.
Okay.
Because there aren't pictures, but on one page.
So here's what we have to think about. Pictures come before details. Details and pictures come before detail in writing.
Right.
So are you not seeing a lot of pictures because the student developmentally is beyond that?
Okay.
Because that's a good thing.
Yeah.
If so, you kind of disregard that whole pictures idea.
Okay.
Except,
That's kinda why I
and I
was
wouldn't even
worried
say
less, 'cause
disregard
they
the
have-
image. Did he write where you got a mental image? If his writing is strong enough, you're getting mental images, then he's beyond the picture.
Right.
Okay.
Right, does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay,
And you want him to
spelling.
do that.
3.5.
I did 3.5.
Okay.
3.
Yeah, close.
And punctuation?
3.
Okay, good. Awesome. Now erase that. Take those samples and slide them back into your. Oh wait, don't erase them yet. Oh, I forgot one.
It's
today.
okay, well, let's get that, cause we're in time, cause they're
Okay.
gonna enter their real paper anyway,
Okay.
there's no need to enter it. We'll show
Slide
them
that
here.
sample back in your sheet protector and put it on the floor, but don't forget it when you leave here because my feelings will be hurt. Take your stack of your students' writing and give it to someone at a different table.
So you came in with a stack of high, medium, and low papers, hand that stack over to a different teacher that's not at your
Do I
table.
need to have them, how I label them? I didn't write
Yeah,
them.
you can leave your high, medium, and low.
No, I'm saying, I didn't mark them as how.
No, it's okay, you do not. You
So-
don't necessarily, I mean, you have a paper clip, so I'm assuming like his first stack was high and then medium.
I didn't have a paper clip in my
Yes,
head.
that's okay. So trade with somebody that's at a different table.
Go ahead and on that ESC11.net JELP, go ahead and click on the word Millsap.
Yeah, Millsap if you haven't gotten there, and then you'll see a little icon that looks like a graph-ish looking thing.
Like a dot graph, is that what they're
Turquoise,
called?
turquoise little
Turquoise?
graph.
Yep. Says something about writing,
Yep, that's it.
pathways, progression, something. Click on that.
Okay, that's it, you're gonna see it, yeah,
So
that's
you're
it.
gonna see a Google form. What we want you to do is enter the student's last name and first name.
Which you may not have, and it's okay. We learned a lot from our journey, we're always constantly learning. So whose stack do you have?
Okay.
So she has Miss Burkett's, and this little student's name only has Coria. Just write whatever you have. If there's no name, write a sticky and write student 1 so we know who it belonged to.
And then enter them as student
Or
one.
no.
Okay.
No, you're gonna do her student's name here.
Just
and
set it
then
on the
teacher
floor and
name.
don't worry about it for the sake of
Okay, and
time.
does it start high, medium, low, or?
Oh, that's a good question, you didn't clarify.
Yeah, make sure that,
That's low,
so pull
low.
out one high, one medium, and one low
From their stacks.
from their stack. Just pull out one high, don't belabor it, just pick one. One high, one medium, and one low. Set the others aside. We want you to score those 3.
And if you get 3 done, you can challenge yourself to do 3 more.
Yeah.
Because we set enough time for you to try to aim to get 6 complete, but we wanna give you grace when you're first getting started. So you're
But
gonna-
don't belabor this. If you're spending more than 2 minutes, you're spending too much time, and that's not the protocol. You're
Okay.
on your own.
So you're gonna just read the rubric, enter it on the computer. Read the rubric, I wouldn't even mark the rubric, I would just read and enter on the computer instead of circling with the marker.
Yeah, type their last name, comma, first name, the teacher on record. So if I have Jennifer's, I'm gonna type in Dale.
Yeah.
Don't type in your last name.
And just whatever student name they put on the paper, type that one, and we may come back to you and ask you for last names later.
Yeah.
Mr. name, there's a duplicate case, so there's 2 names Emily.
But it'll have the teacher's name.
Yeah, so we can go back.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh.
Okay, no sound effects, just. Should be about halfway finished with that first one.
Sorry. This sucks.
There you go. Embrace the suck. tend to compare student to student, and what we hope you won't do, or what you will do, is try not to do that. Really try to compare them to the rubric, not to the kid you just scored.
But your brain might naturally do it.
So be aware. All right, if you're not finished with the first kid, you're behind just a little bit, okay? So
A question.
remember, don't belabor it.
I mean, the writer put more and then more, I mean, is that?
Yeah, I mean, would you say that, so the writer's story in the theme is there, and then you have
I think maybe that's supposed to be a sibling's name, I'm not sure.
Okay, so maybe
But
in
it
that
just
case,
said we, it didn't say like my family
so
and
you
my
could do
dad.
mid-level. If you're not sure, I would always just kind of go in between. When I'm not sure if I feel like it's on grade level or not, when I just always go with my middle.
Okay. Oh, so we're submitting each one?
All right, if you're not almost finished with the second one, you are overthinking it. So pick up the pace. Don't overthink it. Just get it done. and stop where you are. So, give you just a second to finish whichever one you're on. So let's talk about this. We're going to pretend when you're completely finished, we're going to ask you to come back together as a team and talk about what you noticed, okay, to kind of analyze what you saw. But for now, we're going to pretend. So based on the 3 or 4 papers that you scored just now, you're going to make some generalizations about your entire stack. When you finish scoring, you won't have to pretend. You'll have some generalizations based on what you saw. But for now, we're just going to pretend because we want to walk you through this process that you guys will do on your own after you've scored them all. Okay?
So if you all go off and score on your own, at some point you're gonna wanna come back together and have this conversation. And I'm gonna recommend honestly, like, you don't have to all be in the same room together to sit down and score these. We're just practicing together, but you want to come back to do this analysis piece and this reflection piece, because in the absence of that, the protocol isn't, achieving its
It's a
outcome.
waste of your time. Like you could have just put them in the trash can and it would have been the same thing. Really, okay? So what we want to do now is thinking about the papers that you've scored, and again, you're pretending like you've scored that whole stack of somebody else's papers. What are some things that you notice the students doing well? And I want you to not give me a belabored answer, just give me a quick, very short, the sweetened condensed milk version.
And I'm gonna
of
write
what you
down your
noticed.
like positive points, like what's something you saw your writers doing that you were like, yeah, they were doing this thing.
And when you do
Good
this
picture
for
shots.
real, hold on, let me finish real quick. When you do this for real, you want somebody to take notes. These are our 3 or 4 strengths, okay? All right, so they had good pictures. What do you mean by good? Can you give me some words from the
Well, if
rubric?
I couldn't, I don't know about the rubric, but if I couldn't figure out what they were writing, I could look at the picture to help me figure out what the
Okay.
words were.
Okay.
So very detailed pictures.
Yes, yeah,
Okay.
some detailed pictures.
Totally off the subject, but am I the only one that just gave mine 1 page to write?
I gave one page.
Okay, because to me that makes a difference in how we're grading these too, because we gave
That's
them
what I was
1
gonna
page
ask.
to write, and like she gave hers a book, and so like they didn't finish. You know what I'm saying? Okay.
So that'll be a calibration thing that y'all will want to
Okay.
do before you do your next on demand to make sure you're on the same page. It's okay.
And there's not one way or right,
Right.
like 1 page versus 3 pages, there's not right or wrong, it's just consistency in the application of it. And we didn't, when you're first getting started, you learn by doing.
Yeah.
So you might say, it could change it though, if we don't all administer it the same way,
Right.
then the outcomes could be different.
Okay.
So what we've learned so far is I need to have a conversation with my students about writing their names on their paper. Like across this campus in Millsap, we need to have a conversation. And what you're telling me for first grade is that we need to have a conversation about how many pages we're gonna use, like in order to calibrate and get all on the same page, okay? So we heard from Jennifer. Who else wants to tell me something strong?
That you saw your writers doing, and you're like, yes, these kids are doing this already.
I think it kind of goes along with what she said, the description. Even in their writing, they tried to describe a little more than just say, there was a dog, they said what color it was.
Okay.
Perfect description.
On mine, I can look at the pictures, and although I can't read most of the writing, I can say, oh, she's picking flowers, or she's doing this, and then I can kind of make out maybe some of what they're writing. So maybe they're pictures, they like to
Okay.
draw the pictures better.
And can I just ask, because last year's kindergartners were the very first time that there's really been an emphasis on the written expression. So like thinking to a year ago, if you had this same stack, and do you feel like there's evidence of good, strong writing instruction coming in? Like stronger than maybe
You
the
can tell
past?
Lucy was on your campus.
I feel
We're
like
not
they
there
can.
yet. We've only been doing this a few months, but
Yeah.
I feel like it's different than what you might have seen last
Well,
year.
yes, because we had this conversation at lunch. Because before the school year started, and we were talking about writing, and we were saying, can you imagine doing this in the beginning of the year? Think about when we started
In
it.
January,
It was,
right?
yes.
Yeah.
And I said at lunch, it's been much easier than I thought it would be.
Right. Okay, I don't want to derail it, so I'm going to go back to our team agreement.
you.
So we've heard 2, 3 things. Let's hear from you, Leah.
Yeah, Cindy.
Cindy, sorry.
Well,
Lee's over here, I know, I do the same thing.
Just, there's letters, I mean, there's no scribbles, so I'm happy to see letters.
Okay, you've got some letters that match sounds, maybe?
Yes.
Yay!
Do they match
Okay,
sounds?
do some of the letters match sounds?
Yes.
I like that. Yay, okay,
Yes.
very good. Now, we want to revisit your big nuggets. Remember our narrative nuggets that we established? We want to revisit those, and based on those, what did you see that your students weren't doing so well?
Some of them weren't writing about a small moment.
Okay, so we're thinking that nugget's still probably a good one to continue focusing on.
We need to focus our instruction on that nugget. What else?
A lot of mine are still having trouble stretching words. Like they can get the beginning and the ending, but they can't figure out what's in the
So
middle.
that'll be work that comes
Yes.
both through
Okay.
phonics instruction
Yes.
and writing instruction.
No ending.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that one of y'all's nuggets?
You
Endings?
have correct endings.
Okay. There's not an ending,
There's
not
nothing.
the correct one. There's not one. Okay. So what you guys just did, I would have, if I were leading your team through this, whenever after you'd scored them all, I would write those things down. But really, you've already got them written down, right? So you're just revisiting your nuggets, and you're saying, guys, we just realized we truly do need to focus on these.
Can I also point out though, you have pictures support the writing. I heard a lot of you saying they're doing a good job on that already. Their illustrations, their drawings, their details are supporting the writing. So it might turn out that this particular nugget needs a little less attention than some of these others.
And
Does that make
it could
sense?
be, if you're like, we have arrived in that, you might take that off and
Make a
bring
new
in a
nugget.
different nugget, okay? This is a fluid document, it's living, okay? So I'm charging you guys to have this conversation once you finish scoring. I'm gonna ask you to be finished and have all of your information entered in a week. And so have it all done. You're scoring the stack that you have now, and then you'll, after they're all scored and entered, you'll return it to the person. Here's what I'm gonna encourage you not to do. Don't go back and be like, I would have given that one a 3, and I would have given that one a 2. Don't do it. Let's just live in this land for now because you don't have time to do that, okay? And we'll continue to get better at our calibration the more that we do this.
The other thing is when you're first starting doing scoring of any kind of writing, you're gonna have a little bit of insecurity around how you're scoring. You're new to the rubric, you're new to, am I being too hard, am I doing too soft? Just live in that space of discomfort for a little bit. Try it out. The more you score, the quicker and faster it'll go, and the more confident you'll feel in your scoring.
One of the things that I think is important to bring up is we had you switch for a specific reason. Did I already say this? We had you switch papers for a specific reason because if you're, I can't remember what I said to you guys and what I said to 5 periods ago. If you're scoring your own paper, you tend to be emotionally invested in your kids. And so you end up doing things like, I know Johnny can write better, but his parents are getting a divorce, or he fell off his bike and scraped his knee, or whatever. And so you start justifying why you should go ahead and mark them up. And if you're scoring somebody else's paper, that emotional investment isn't always there. And so the other thing is we had you switch with a different table, because when you go and score the rest of these, do it in a quiet place where you're by yourself. I'm not gonna be scoring Jennifer's and sit next to Jennifer and be like, well, what do you think? Blah, blah, blah. No, you want it to be unbiased, just get it done. And again, we're not completely calibrated. You guys had some different opinions as we were trying to do that calibration. We're not there yet, but I think when we come back and do this on demand at the end of the unit, we'll be closer because we'll all understand the instruction, we'll all have been doing it. You guys, I'm gonna encourage you to have those hallway conversations, to have conversations about your instructions on the regular, and that will also help calibrate you, okay? All right. Let's keep moving forward because we're almost done. How long do I have? 2 minutes. Okay, let's talk about this. Let's just kind of reflect. How is the pacing?
I don't like it.
Okay.
It's fast. It's too fast.
Yeah.
Know that in our first time, you felt like you probably want a little more time with each paper. I'm gonna suggest like 3 minutes would be the most I'd stretch it. We were pushing you to 2. We were trying to push you to 2.
And I really think it can be done in 2. Like, I'm going to be the heavy on this one. And the reason why is not because, I mean, I don't care what you do with your time. If you want to spend the entire Labor Day weekend doing this, knock yourself out. But in an effort to honor your time, because you already give so much of it, we want this to be a really quick process. And you can deduce a lot of information by going through this really fast that impacts your score. And then we're going to show you later how you can get it down to an individual student. So right now this is big picture, so it should be fast. When we go to an individual student, we'll talk about it and it'll be a little bit different.
And
Okay?
Cindy, can you say more just is the part about it you don't like just the quickness of it?
I think it's me, like it's my personality. Knowing that I need to go fast, then it messes me up.
anxiety for me, yeah.
Mhm.
I personally kind of like the timing because I feel like I don't sit there and over and rethink myself.
You know,
Like
like
I pick a
overanalyze
choice and I
it.
go with it. If I have a long time, I'm gonna go, well, wait, maybe this, or maybe this, or maybe this. But if I'm in a hurry, then I'm just gonna give it a score and I'm just gonna go with it.
So try to
First
visualize
instinct.
wherever you are and based on who you are, because I do think that comes into play a little
Personality,
bit, right?
absolutely.
Like, I imagine myself sitting at my couch with my stack of papers and a glass of wine in my hand, taking my time through them, because I've got that space and time in my life. But if I don't have that
Because she
space and
drinks
time
a
in my
lot.
life, and maybe that too, then I'm gonna.
You have a little hand sitting in your lap, full of your papers.
But imagine, like, picture yourself, maybe it's your planning period, and you've shut the door, and you're just sitting down to finish that stack. Then you might be a little bit more efficient, but just the space and space you've got.
Yeah.
The real commitments are when you're together and doing the calibration at the beginning. You wanna get through as many of them as you can, so that you can have those conversations
Yeah.
together.
So along those same lines, I'll go ahead and say this. Envision yourself scoring the rest of these, where you will do it and when you will do it, because sometimes if we leave this room and we're like, I'll get to that, it doesn't always happen. And then the night before, whenever we email you and be like, remember you said you'd have them in a week, you'll be like, crap, and rushing to do it. So really think about where and when
So
you're
can you
gonna
picture
do that.
yourself when and where you're gonna finish the stack?
Do you
Tonight in my bed.
understand?
Tonight in my bed.
Do you have a reason to value the pacing though? Do you feel like it's valuable?
Well, like she said, we won't overthink it.
It makes me feel like I don't care. It makes me feel like I just need to pick something and move on.
And rather than you, and I think that's a processing thing, because I'm kind of that way too. Like, I'm like, okay, I'm doing it to just comply right now, but I really want to read this a little longer,
I feel
right?
that way too.
So I can honor that, but really our intent of the intensity is so you want that, really.
Yeah.
And is that, we want to ask this question though, like, is there instructional value, and what's the purpose of monitoring this progress? Like, what do you think is the value around doing this together as a team?
Oh, for sure, just, well, one, seeing the growth in the kids, and also, you know, things that we're experiencing in our classrooms, and we can talk about, hey, they're doing this well, or they're doing this well, and this is what I'm doing in my instructions, and we can help each other.
Good.
Anything else?
How did you get your kids' papers to look, you know, a certain way?
Gosh, how did you get your kids to do that, right?
And what am I doing that's wrong or
Did you have
whatever, I
to
mean,
class?
But sometimes it's a little tweak.
Yeah.
Or what you just said, I think is important. Sometimes it's a, can I come into your class? Will you do the mini lesson for all 40 of our kids? Because I want to see you do this.
How powerful, right? Like, the more we do that, so we have to celebrate before they leave.
Yes. You guys were the first ones on Boxer.
Your whole team was on there, and so I'm gonna joke because I really wanted to buy you the really cute sticky notes, and they're like $18.
Those big ones like these, we wanted you to have those.
So I came up with an alternative plan.
$18. We love you, but 20,
Double
40,
stick
60.
tape
good, I use them.
and the colorful things, and so it's a makeshift sticky note.
You can make your own.
That's yours, that's y'all's. And you can make your own colorful fun stickies.
Y'all are gonna kick me off Boxer if I'm gonna ask you questions.
No, we love it.
We love that you're on there. And
Everybody else
lastly-
is gonna kick me off.
These two things are valuable tools for you to use for conferring. I'm going to encourage you to put it in a binder for narrative along with all your paper choices like what Tennille has.
So I've started my own little like kit of printing, and like I have little tabs, but like the paper choices, she's already got one. So
Oh,
if you've
that's-
started it, it's nice to just have it, and if you haven't, well, this is a little nudge, and you just got some.
And if I'm out conferring with students and I'm like, I don't know what to say when I'm conferring, I can be like, oh, the writer found a way to end his story. I'm going to give you some feedback on that because I've got the language here all in one
And
place.
ladies, these will be in here. We're leaving all this in here, so if you want to come in and do your sporting parties in this room, everything's left behind. But you go, okay,